Hey guys, it's mid-June and I want to do a garden update because I haven't done one in a long time and things are just blowing up. It's so crazy. I actually really want to show you this. Do you remember? I don't know if I said this to you. So basically, we were growing some brassicas. We were growing cauliflower, broccoli rabe, and the trays got all mixed up. So lesson learned, always make sure to label what you're planting because you will never know what's gonna come up. So we thought, I thought that I had killed all of the cauliflower. Well, not actually. Look at this. Look at that little guy, it's so cute. We got little cauliflower, isn't that so cute? And this morning, I am going to harvest this beast. So we have managed to grow broccoli. It's really exciting. Delicious. We grew that, dude. Isn't that crazy? It was so easy. It was not that hard. And I'm harvesting in the morning. I should say that because I read on the internet that it's better to harvest in the morning because everything's really firm and crisp. And I did notice that when I harvested a bunch of lettuce a few days ago, and we harvested later, like we harvested during the day, it was really sad and wilty. And I think it's because it's too hot. You know, I didn't have enough water inside the plant, and it was just a little sad, but it's fine. We ate it anyway. It was delicious. So yeah, so I guess I'll give you a tour. Okay, cool. Let's take a look. So these are the brassicas. They still look very happy and healthy. Look at those guys. We're doing a lot of interplanting. So we have kale. There's a tomato plant right there. There's a squash. Another tomato plant, more kale. There's a bunch of lettuce up there, which we're gonna have to tear out soon because it's getting really old and it's gonna flower soon, and you don't want that. This is, I don't know what this is. This is kohlrabi. Again, another really good example of lesson learned. We're gonna label a lot more stuff in the future. We also have a bunch of tomatoes, like a ridiculous amount of tomatoes. I usually plant a lot of tomatoes because I like tomatoes, and a lot of them die usually, but this year not all of them died, which is really exciting. So you can see we got some nice new growth there. You know, one thing that you can see on these tomatoes, I don't know, let's find this guy. So on these guys, you can see that the leaves are a little yellow. They got a little burnt. That's because I didn't realize that the soil I was using didn't have any nutrients. It was just a seed starting mix. So we fed them and they are getting nice and green now. But the old leaves were burned because they got too many nutrients at once, and they don't like that. So they're growing healthy now, and that's the nice thing about plants is, you know, one thing that we're learning is that they really just want to live. They just really want to, you know, complete their life cycle, just like other living beings. These are potatoes. They're starting to flower, which is really cool. Some dill. This is a gooseberry plant. We haven't gotten to eat anything off of it yet. I hope that the squirrels are not getting all of it. We are growing an avocado plant in Colorado. Pretty amazing. It's been pretty happy so far. Over here we've got another tomato plant. We've got some beets. We've got some beets right here. We've got some radishes over there. The Mizuna is bolting. You can see those beautiful yellow flowers. But you know, that's okay. Mizuna is one of the earliest crops that we get, and you know, it's the first grain that we eat every year, and it's absolutely delicious. And it's a seasonal crop, you know, you only get it for pretty cold seasons. And then over here, we just have a crazy wildlife of weeds and also some flowers. None of them are blooming yet because it's too early in the day, but they will be blooming shortly. We've got a big old bucket of lettuce. Some flowers. We have a farm nearby who grows bees, and so we've been planting a lot of flowers and leaving a lot of flowers up because, you know, we want to feed the bees because the bees feed us. Another thing that we have been doing is, you know, we've been doing a lot of chop and drop. So I have been reading a lot about how when you want to feed your soil, you know, we have really sad looking soil here. Do you see how cracked it is? This is outside of the garden bed. Obviously the garden bed is built up like about 1.5 feet above this, and so we put all sorts of really tasty, yummy poop all over that garden bed. Well, this is just, it lacks nutrients, it lacks water, and what you can see here is you can see this crusting. This is what happens when soil has been compacted and when it has been just really abandoned for a long time. So what we're trying to do is, you know, every time I pull up the weeds, I don't pull them up by the roots. This is just a backyard. It's not a farm. So I'm not trying to like suppress weeds. In fact, I think that any greenery is good. And so what I'll do is I'll just pull up leaves and I'll leave them. And the leaves, you know, will cover these really sad parts. You can see here's some grass that we had cut earlier this week. And just, you know, try to encourage nutrients to go into these sad locations, and you know, try to make it a little bit more, just try to make it a little bit more green. This is our compost pile. Being in Colorado, we have a lot of pine needles, and actually a lot of these pine needles were there before we got here. This was a compost pile that was existing. So we've been adding a bunch of stuff to it. I mean, you can get in there and you can see all sorts of food stuff, and we added a bunch of leaves that we pulled over from the old garden 1.0. But anyway, you know, we're a little concerned because we had a lot of coffee grounds, and in addition to that, pine needles. Those two things will make your compost super acidic. So that's a thing that we're going to have to try to contend with this year. Don't know how that's going to go. We'll look into it. These are the pumpkins. I'm a little nervous because the pots are so small, and pumpkin roots can get really deep. They typically can get like 6 feet deep. Isn't that crazy? So pots are a little small, but we'll just have to like trellis these guys, I think. We'll see how it goes. You know, everything's an experiment. The other thing, speaking of experiments, and that's the last thing I'll show you guys, is these pepper plants. So check this out. Last year we bought pepper plants. We just bought them at a grocery center. Oh, this weed. So we just bought a bunch of pepper plants. So this guy is 2 years old, and last winter we cut him back, and I think I showed this in an earlier video. He just looked like a sad little stick, and now look at him. He's growing and green, and this is a really good illustration of how, you know, 50% of the plant, or less or more depending on the plant. I mean, you know, take my percentages with a grain of salt. But you know, a certain percentage of your plant is underground. And so you can see this like sad, horrible mess of a plant, you know, just real talk, real bad. But actually, you know, you let them, you give them what they need, and they'll just come back to life. It's so freaking cool. I guess I'll also show you the carrots. We do have some carrots. We put them in this. It's a lot of coconut loam, because they like things, you know, they like really easy to penetrate soil. And also they just are not heavy feeders. They don't need a lot of food. So yeah, that's it. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour. It is a blast. We are spending a lot of time out here. We're learning a lot. You know, this being the second year that we're trying to do this on a larger scale, I think it's going pretty well. You know, we wouldn't be able to sustainably feed more than ourselves right now, but that's okay. You know, every year is better than the last, I think. So, yeah. Happy gardening. I hope that you guys, you know, even if you live in an apartment, plant something.